first speaker is Brian Hicks, the system manager at Skyward. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Thank you. So as Lynn said, my name is Brian Hicks. I am the systems development, a software development manager, systems development manager for Skyward. I've been here about 17 years, spent about 15 years of that time programming as a software engineer. For those that aren't familiar with Skyward, we do school administration software. So basically things that the schools need to function, from grades and food service, things like that. Many of you probably have used us. Some of you probably like us, some of you probably hate us because your parents can see your grades and see how awful you're doing, like myself, or how wonderful you were doing, like my sister. Skyward has about 650 employees, most of which, about a third of those, about 200 of those are software engineers. So we are a software development company. That's the only thing that we do, excuse me. We have about 7.5 million students that use our software. When you add in teachers and parents, we're probably over 10 million users of Skyward. So lots of people to interact with what we do. So Lynn, we can go to the next slide.
When you solve that problem, I think that's the most rewarding. So programming is really a rewarding career. When people hear you say, yeah, I'm a programmer, and they start thinking, oh, wow, I wonder if I'll be able to do it. And I truly believe that just about anybody can do it.
When I started 15 years ago, I went through the whole day and I never talked to a single person. That's what life as a developer used to be. You sat in your cube, you wrote your code, that's what you did. Life now is very, very much different in the software engineer environment. We're constantly working together. We work on teams. Every morning that group gets up, they get together, they talk about what they're going to do for that day, what they did yesterday, any problems that they might have. It is very much collaborative.
Each individual team definitely has a very tight-knit or a tight bond. It's not just a place to work. You know, you do end up having a lot of close friends that are here or making a lot of friendships. Some of the nice benefits, I know of a lot of people that have taken advantage of the flexible work hours of being able to work 4/10s versus the 8-hour days. The locker rooms that are downstairs where a lot of people like to go on runs or bike on lunch.
So for professional growth, we work really hard with our software engineers to set up a path so that they know what they need to do to grow. Some people like to sit in their cube and that they just want to write code all day, and that's totally cool. Some people have bigger aspirations. Our system managers are really good at identifying that and really helping them grow and figure out, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be?
I think more and more women are actually braving the programming industry. Hopefully, some of these younger generation will be able to see this and find the motivation that, hey, you know what, this is really cool and I can do this. There's a lot of things that keeps me motivated. I think just leaving a footprint in a bigger picture. When you think about the stuff that you do every day, you don't see how that plays out right away. Eventually, you get to see it, and it's like, oh, I did that. I did that. I was part of that.
Our customer interaction, it drives our product, or gives us the backing as to why we need to change our product sometimes. We definitely are making their lives easier by automating a lot of these processes or making them more efficient. And it's just a rewarding thing to do.
What we provide to these schools is indispensable. I can't imagine how they would function without what we do and how well we work together with the schools to provide that. So I really believe in what we do. That's how I stay motivated. It's easy. I love it.
So one of the things Nick mentioned, showers here at Skyward, that became really important this morning when the power was out at my house. So I got to come in here, took a shower at work, came up here. Awesome. Glad we had showers. So talking a little bit about some of the skills that we look for from our software engineers, and quite honestly, I think these skills apply to any job, any work that you're going to do. Some of these I think are really obvious from a software engineering standpoint, as far as good analytical skills, good problem solving skills. So you need to be able to look at a problem and analyze that issue and say, how are we going to do this? How are we going to break this down? How are we going to solve this problem? And then you need to be able to solve the problem. You need to have really good, strong problem solving skills. But I think the one that really gets kind of overlooked a little bit from the software development standpoint is communication. Those videos that you saw were slightly staged, but they were a replication of things that happened every single day. Like I said in there, we used to sit in our cube and write code and never interact. Well, that world has changed. We are now constantly working together as a group to solve these problems, and because of that, we've gotten even better. Then you can go to the next slide, please. So, kind of building on this idea of what skills that you need, software development in almost every area now is something called an agile work environment. We have, as I said, around 200 developers, about 25 different teams. Each of those teams ranges from 4 to 6 developers, but then they'll also include other people in the department, in the company, a quality assurance person, a product owner. So being able to communicate not just technically, but also taking that technical knowledge and being able to speak about that in a non-technical way, explaining it to people who are not software engineers is absolutely critical. There's lots of collaboration, constantly working together as a group to solve the problem, as opposed to just one person trying to figure it out. Some big advice that I would give to you as you're going through high school and post-high school education that you may go through, really work on those communication skills. The math, the computer science, those courses are going to teach you the how to write the code. They're going to teach you how to be analytical. They're going to teach you how to solve problems. But where you're going to stand out and where you're really going to excel, especially at a company like Skyward, is if you can communicate, if you can work together as a team, if you can come in here and you can be a good leader and help your team develop, that's where you're really going to stand out to us, and to any employer really that you're looking at this. I hated group projects when I was going to school. Use those as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to kind of hone some of those skills that you need to work together, because honestly, that's the reality of the world now. We are constantly working together as a group. I think that's all that I've got for you today. So I will hand it back to Lynn.
Well, I've got some questions. So yeah, you did talk a lot about collaboration and teamwork in your 25 teams there at Skyward. So what kind of impact did COVID have on you when that happened a year ago?
Yeah, holy cats. The cool thing about being introverted, geeky software engineers, and I use the term geeky because it applies to myself, is we're really good at working at home and sitting in our basement or wherever it is that we like to work. The employees were absolutely amazing. We hardly missed a beat. We sent everybody home. We've been home now for over a year. I am in the office today because it's quieter, and I have 2 dogs, Lynn, that will bark like crazy, and I didn't want to deal with that today. There's, I think, 30 or 40 people in this building that normally houses about 600. So most of us are working from home. We've got some really great tools to collaborate and work together. Not quite as good as spinning around in your chair and talking to the person behind you, but the tools that we have are good. And we're just good at that adaptation and being able to say, yeah, we can do this remotely. This isn't a big deal.
Great. The other question I had was on women in IT. So you did mention that more women are getting involved in IT. So at Skyward, what are you seeing as far as trends with the number of women that you've got now at Skyward, and kind of where you see that going?
Yeah, I don't have any specific numbers. All I have is anecdotal information. I would say we're pretty level, not seeing an increase and not seeing a decrease in the females that join our ranks. I am part of the hiring process here. We just don't see a lot of women that come through. maybe 10%.
Okay.
So girls, go
Yep.
out there.
Yep,
You
we've
can
got
do
to
this.
encourage the girls. Girls that
Yeah.
code. I know that that is something that's becoming more popular in districts. So we need to push girls that code.
Yes, girls that code.
Great. Meg, do you have any questions?
No questions in the chat, but I do have a question. I love that you called out the communication skills, because we do have a course here called Oral Interpersonal Communication. And I feel like that is a great course to take in order to gain those skills. I was interested in learning a little bit more on what types of problems do you look at each day?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll take this from you don't want to know what problems I, as the systems manager, deal with because it's really boring. But as a software engineer, you're dealing with, for example, here's one that just came in today. We had some customers, they were trying to submit some data to the state and it was failing. It was failing over and over again. So that comes into us from the district with a service call. And gets forwarded to the team, and the team then has to go in there and figure out what is the problem, where is it us, is it the state? Those are one of the problems that we need to deal with. Another one that we commonly deal with is a school district says we want a screen that does this, so we want this particular functionality. Well, how do we deliver that functionality? They can't tell us that from a technical standpoint, but they can explain, we want a screen that shows all of the students that are in my classroom, and I can quickly go through and check them off as to whether they're here or not. We have that screen, but that would be one of those examples where we would have to kind of figure out how to design that, how to store that information, how to retrieve that information quickly. Does that help?
Perfect. Yes, thank you. I think this will be a really good role for someone who's a learner, and it's really exciting to do something new every day and you're not constantly doing the same thing. So I think that is a great call out. Thank you.